The Heart of the Tree is a poem that stresses upon the importance of planting trees and their usefulness to all life on earth. It has been written by Henry Cuyler Bunner, an American novelist, journalist, and poet. The poem is particularly relevant to our times because nowadays we have become so relentless in the pursuit of urbanization that we have totally disconnected ourselves from Mother Nature. The poem tells us that if we wish to flourish, we must live in harmony with nature. And one of the best ways to do this is by planting a tree. Now let us read the poem and understand the meaning. What does he plant who plants a tree? He plants a friend of sun and sky. He plants the flag of breezes free, the shaft of beauty towering high. He plants a home to heaven and I, for song and mother croon of bird, in hushed and happy twilight heard, the treble of heaven's harmony. These things he plants, who plants a tree. In the very first line of the poem, the poet asks a very simple and straightforward question, which is, what does he plant who plants a tree? This question, however, is not as casual as we think. He is in fact telling us that we should not take the act of planting a tree lightly at all. Then in the next lines, he lists what are the benefits of planting trees. He plants a friend of sun and sky. A tree is a friend of the sun and sky because it reduces the temperature. It attracts rain. It collects energy from the sun and purifies the air by producing oxygen. It creates a friendly, pleasant living environment. He plants the flag of breezes free, the shaft of beauty towering high. A tree swaying in the breeze makes us feel as calm and joyful as we would feel on seeing a flag fluttering in the breeze. The poet describes a tree as the shaft of beauty towering high. Shaft means a ray or a long narrow pole or stick. Towering means standing tall. The tree standing tall, swaying gracefully, not only pleases our eyes, but also reassures us about its nurturing abilities. He plants a home to heaven and I means nearby. The poet says that the one who plants trees creates a home near heaven. He brings heaven closer to us. How does he do that? The next three lines elaborate further on this. For song and mother croon of bird, in hushed and happy twilight heard, the treble of heaven's harmony. Mother croon of bird means the lullaby that is sung by the mother bird to her baby birds to soothe them and put them to sleep. Twilight means the evening time, when the sun has just set and it is not yet dark. We know that birds return to their nests at this time and settle in for the night. It is a quiet or hushed time because the day's activities are over, and happy because the entire bird family is together, enveloped in the coziness of love and belonging. It is at this time that we can hear the treble of heaven's harmony. Here, treble refers to a high-pitched singing or instrumental melody. Harmony refers to feelings of calmness and peacefulness. So when the mother bird is singing sweet lullabies to her young ones at the twilight hour, the atmosphere becomes harmonious and heavenly. These things he plants who plants a tree. The poet answers his own question here, which he had posed in the opening line of the poem. What does he plant who plants a tree? What does he plant who plants a tree? He plants cool shade and tender rain, and seed and bud of days to be, and years that fade and flush again. He plants the glory of the plain, he plants the forest's heritage, the harvest of a coming age, the joy that unborn eyes shall see. These things he plants who plants a tree. The poet begins the second stanza by asking the same question again. What does he plant who plants a tree? And then he goes on to list the benefits that accrue from planting trees. He plants cool shade and tender rain. By planting trees, we get cool shade, which protects us from heat, and rain, which nurtures our planet. Hence the words tender rain. And seed and bud of days to be means that in future the same trees will provide us with fruits, flowers and seeds. And years that fade and flush again. This means that just as one year ends and a new year begins, in the same way the environment also, represented by trees, will fade out and then become bright again. Trees will grow old and die, and new trees will sprout from the seeds of the old trees. He plants the glory of the plain. Trees give glory to the plain land, which would be desolate, neglected, and deserted otherwise. He plants the forest's heritage. The act of planting trees today is what will create a forest of trees in the future. The more the number of trees, the healthier and happier our planet will be. The harvest of a coming age, the joy that unborn eyes shall see. Planting a tree today will give us the results or consequences of our action in a coming age, which means in the days to come, the future. The effects of planting a tree are long lasting. Even the coming generations who have not been born yet will see the trees and experience the joy of having trees all around them. These things he plants who plants a tree. The poet concludes this stanza just like the previous one by emphasizing that these are the benefits we get by planting trees. What does he plant who plants a tree? He plants in sap and leaf and wood, in love of home and loyalty, and far cast thought of civic good, his blessings on the neighborhood, who in the hollow of his hand holds all the growth of all our land. A nation's growth from sea to sea stirs in his heart who plants a tree. The poet again begins the last stanza by repeating the same question. What does he plant who plants a tree? He plants in sap and leaf and wood, in love of home and loyalty. Here he refers to the different parts of the tree that are useful to us, such as its sap, leaves, and wood, and says that every part of the tree is so useful that if we love our home, whether it is our own home, our neighborhood, our city, country, or the planet, if we love our home, if we are loyal to our home, then we will definitely plant trees. And far cast thought of civic good. This means that those who plant trees are visionaries. They can foresee the far reaching beneficial impact on civic good, which means the welfare of society. His blessings on the neighborhood, who in the hollow of his hand holds all the growth of all our land. A man who plants trees is elevated by his good deeds to a stature or position that is higher than that of others. The poet conveys this by using the words his blessings, his hand, and finally the last line holds all the growth of all our land. Such a man is capable of blessing others. Note the use of the capital letter in the pronoun H. This tells us that a planter of trees is not an ordinary person. By planting trees, he is blessing his fellow men and everything that is around him. He holds seeds or saplings in the hollow of his hand, and when these seeds sprout, when these saplings grow, they contribute to the well being of everyone. That is why the poet says, all the growth of all our land. A nation's growth from sea to sea. Here, the poet conveys that a nation does not comprise of isolated or demarcated pieces of land only. Mere political boundaries or any boundaries cannot confine the spirit of nationhood. A truly enlightened human being is one who can think of universal welfare. Such a man thinks about the growth, the prosperity of the entire planet from sea to sea. And it is this feeling that lives in his heart, as conveyed in the last line, stirs in his heart who plants a tree.